Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Lewis here, and today we are going to be digitizing our parts from our mask, our PPE-Com version 0.4, and also the speaker system that we have been putting together. And we're going to digitize the parts, and then we are going to start fabricating a 3D enclosure for both of those things. So today we are going to be doing something a little bit different with our setup. We have a overhead view as usual, and this is of our just a silicon mat that we have just a ruler here. I have my caliper that I no doubt will get made fun of because it is plastic, but you know that's what I got right now. So too bad. And we are using a program called 3D Studio Max, which is not necessarily a program for engineering, but it's a 3D modeling program that I've been using for years. So just to quickly get this thing figured out, we're going to do it in 3D Studio Max. 3D Studio Max is a relative of AutoCAD, so it has most of the features from AutoCAD, but it's more geared for 3D modeling for animation, but it does work well for engineering. In the future, we'd be doing this in SolidWorks, and then any future animation or 3D graphics we're going to do on this channel will be done in Blender. I teach myself how to use Blender. I have about 15 years, or more than 15 years experience using Softimage and Maya and 3D Studio Max, but I am done paying for licenses, and Blender seems like the way to go. So, first thing we're going to do is we are going to model this new transformer we just got, and this transformer is for our speaker. So let's just digitize this thing first. We're not going to do the most accurate model, but it's going to be enough so that we can build a virtual representation of it for our system. So first thing we're going to do is zero our caliper. That has been zeroed. And let's just measure this thing. This thing is, it says it is 10.47 millimeters, assuming it is square. No. 10.72 versus 10.72 versus, thing keeps falling, versus 10.45. Actually, let's just get another one to test it and make sure that is correct. And you might be a little confused as to my setup here because this is not what 3D Studio Max usually looks like with a live video feed in it. That is something that I've cooked up just using OBS. We're just overlaying our video camera feed on top of what would be our front view of our 3D model environment. Don't be fooled, that's not a feature that 3D Studio Max has, which is a live video feed. So we're going to take that one, put that one over there, just make sure we get an average of these sizes. Let's see what this one is. This one, that one is 10.5 millimeters by 10.78 millimeters. 7.9, so that's 7.8 millimeters, 10.8 millimeters. So we're going to call this, well, let's just do a third one to be safe. I should be writing this down so we can actually get a mathematical equation here. So we're going to do that. Let's just bring up calculator. And let's measure these. We're going to do a 3-factor test, or not factor, but three versions. We're calling that one, so we're going to call this width is 10.49 plus 10.52 plus 10.5. Now we're going to divide that by 3. That gives us 10.5. So we're gonna put that in here. Let's just start with our top down. So we're gonna do this way. So we're gonna make a rectangle, and let's check what our units are in. So unit setup, and we're gonna make this metric, and we're gonna put it in millimeters. Okay, so draw top down, and we're gonna call this. We're going to call the width 10.55. Let's just call it 10.6. We're going to add a little bit of extra wiggle room on there. Okay, so now we're going to measure what they would call in this program the length. And our first number, clear all those, is 10.75 plus 10.72 plus 10.78. We're going to divide that by 3. That gives us 10.75, so we're going to call it 10.85. All right, and let's take a look at that. Okay, so that is the beginning of our transformer. Okay, and I'm going to just make sure that nobody out there is, yeah, okay. So that's what we got so far. Okay, so now let's take a look at how tall, well, let's see how thick this board is. This is a 1.55 millimeter thickness. Let's just verify. 1.55. 1.54. Yeah, we're gonna call that 1.55 in thickness. So we're just going to extrude this for now. So we're over here. We're gonna go to extrude, and we're gonna call that 1.55 millimeters. All right. So we're also gonna bring this into the middle of our canvas. So okay, and we're gonna recenter on it. All the cameras to center. And we have a little 3D model. Okay, and next thing we're going to do is we are going to add our 3 little terminals here. So we have voltage in, our ground, and our voltage out. So let's add those. So how we're going to do that, we're going to add those. We're just imagine we're looking at the same top down. And let's measure what those holes are. These look like they are really nice and small. I'm going to call them 1 millimeter in diameter. So let's take a look at our circle here. Okay, and we are going to go to our radius, which would be 0.5 millimeters. That radius. So if you double your radius, you get your diameter. And let's say the offset from the top to the bottom, and we're going to call it the middle of it, that's about 2.6. 2.6, 2.5. Let's see what just the top and the bottom of this square that it's living in. Alright, so we're going to say it is 1.4 millimeters for this little square. So we're gonna make it so we can magnetize. We're gonna magnetize in 2.5D. We're gonna click to there, and we are gonna make this 1.4 millimeters by 1.4 millimeters. And we're gonna drag this, and we're gonna tack it to there, and then we're gonna tack this to here. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to multiply this, so we can just make an instance. Going to bring that up, and it looks like this lives in the middle of here. So we're going to align it. So the key is Alt A and center and center. Okay, that looks pretty good. Then, this is looking kind of interesting. So let's see. So, if thine eyes don't deceive me, it looks like if we multiply this, and bring it up one full, it looks like this is living in the middle of this one, which might not be, but that's what it looks like. And it looks like if I go another full one up, that's there. And then it looks like this is living here. But those look like they're way too close together. Yeah, they're way too close together, so my measurements must be off in some place here. So we're going to find out where those measurements are off. So let's just make sure that this is right. So that's up and down. 10.7. So let's make sure that we're looking at this the right way. Rectangle. 10.85. Yeah. Let's see. What's it look like from top and bottom of this row of things? Looks like that's about 6.5 millimeters. Is that what we're getting here with our top and bottom of this circle? That's 5 millimeters. So we are off by something. So my question is what? It looks like the top and bottom of that circle is 1.6, not 1.4. And I would also guess that these circles are, they're 1.2 millimeters. So that means we need a point. Okay, so let's rebuild this. So we're gonna kill this. And we are going to say this circle diameter is 0.6. So that gives us that. Okay, that's looking better. And then this is actually 1.6 as well. Okay. Let's align this right here. And then we're going to multiply this. And then you're going to go in the middle of here. And this. We're going to multiply that. Okay, so you're missing that. So there's that. And then we need 2. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So it looks like this thing goes up to here, and you are actually coming down to here, and then multiply you again, and you're gonna go here. Okay, that's looking way better. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna center this up. So we're gonna just bring all this stuff, and we're just gonna, what we're gonna do, we're actually gonna delete these. Delete these boxes because we don't need the boxes. We're gonna take these and we're gonna group them. Just temporarily, we're gonna group. So just grouped, and we are gonna bring them up to our center line. And we can ungroup these now. And we can bring these over just a smidge now. We don't even need to bring them over a smidge. Well, yeah, we do. So let's make them grouped again. They're grouped. No, they're not grouped. Now they're grouped. Okay. And let's bring these over a smidge. And by a smidge, I mean... There we go. Because we had given this thing some extra legs on both sides of it. Okay. So now, what are we going to do? Well, now we should probably put these little resistors and capacitors on there. So, give me a second to get that going. I'm going to make sure that if anybody is asking any questions on the chat. No on the chat. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is let's put this little piece in here because that's actually going to give us some height on this thing. So we're just going to measure the base of it. We're not going to really model the entire thing out. We're just going to model. It is 5.93 millimeters. Let's just zero that out and make sure. So that is, yeah, we'll call it 5.65 and 5.65. Okay, so we're going to call that 5.65. So here we go. We'll just put a little circle here. We'll call that 5.65 divided by 2. 5.65 divided by 2 is 2.825. So we'll just put that in the radius. And it's going to go right here. And we're going to say the height of you is 4.32 millimeters. So we're going to extrude you. We'll make you 4.35, just be safe. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring this up and put it to resting on our board. And the other thing we're going to do is we are going to attach those holes to our rectangle so that we can actually extrude them properly. So the way we're going to do that is we are going to edit spline. And edit spline, first we're going to do is we're going to ungroup these. They're ungrouped. Okay, let's go back to our rectangle, go to our edit spline, and we are going to attach. We're going to click each one of these. Okay, and now when we get done clicking attach, that disengages it. We're going to go back to extrude, and that's going to have it with 3 holes in it now. Look at that. Okay, and we probably should model these other surface-mounted pieces just for the sake of why not. So here's a surface-mounted, I believe, capacitor, and this is 4 millimeters by 2.6. So 4 by 2.6. Just draw out a rectangle. So we're going to call it 2.6 and then 4 millimeters. And then how high is this thing is a question. It's 2 millimeters in height. So we're going to extrude it 2 millimeters. Okay, and it looks like this is, we're not doing an exact science right here with this board because we are really rapid prototyping this, and some of these details don't matter as much as other details. Sorry, I'm taking a water break. Okay, let's flip this over. Let's see what our other details are on here. So we have another, looks like we have a voltage regulator and some resistors. So let's just model this voltage regulator. That is 2.3 millimeters by 4.2. So we got 4.2 by 2. And you are how thick? We're going with 1 millimeter thick. So 1 millimeter thick, extrude. We'll call this 1 millimeter. And this thing is living underneath of this. Okay. And then we have 2 resistors, and they are what? 3.3 millimeter by 1.5. 3.3 by 1.5. So let's do 5, 3.3, and the height of 1 millimeter. So we're going to extrude those. Okay. So let's just take that. We're just going to roughly say that you are living right here. Living here. And we're going to live here. Okay, so let's take those. We're going to bring those down. Okay, so we're going to call this. This is our transformer. This is transformer 5 volt. And actually, just to be like, really nice with this. We're going to name all these pieces. This is 220. This is PCB. This is our. This is SS14. Okay, so what does our voltage regulator say on it? It says okay, so I can't tell. It says 210 8A, but I don't know if that is 210 8 amp. So we're gonna give me 1 second. Let check. That's a switch. That's a switching voltage regulator. Okay, so we can just type that in. So that is a 210 8A, and then we have this resistor is first resistor is 3M. And then this one is 5M ohm. Okay, so now we have our first model. We're going to close this up. Okay, and we probably should save this. So we're going to make a new scene for this on the desktop. We are going to call this our PPE.com. Actually, we're not going to do that. We are going to add this to our synchronized folder. So where is our synchronized folder is a good question. Do I even have a synchronized folder on this computer? I don't think I do. Okay, so in that case, we're going to actually put it here. So we're going to PPE.com. Go in here, and we're going to create a new folder. We're going to call this version 0.4. Go in here. We're going to call this components. COMPONENTS, and we're going to give it today's date, 2021 0214, and we're going to put version 001. Okay. So we have our first piece built, and how long did that take? That took us a whopping 28 minutes. All right, that's not the fastest, but it ain't the slowest. All right, so we have our transformers built, and we probably should put these integrated into our box of components. Do we even have a slot ready for these things is my question. It doesn't really look like we do. That's fine. We can find a slot for these things. Yeah. Migrate these microphones together, because they are ultimately going to live together. And we're going to put these magnets. Now you're not seeing what I'm doing right now, but that's fine. So I'm going to put these here. I'm going to break the rest of these apart. I mean, I wonder if these things already exist in the Thingiverse. That might be something that someone has already modeled, but you know, it's not bad to show you guys how I do my modeling. It's also fun to model things. This is not the most complicated of things to be reverse engineering. Okay, so just like to keep my workbench nice and ordered. I think you guys have learned that over the course of my last few videos. Okay, so next up, we are going to open up our little, let's see, box here of basically our PPEcom version 0.41. So we're going to open this up. We have a bunch of components that we are going to need to digitize. Don't need to digitize the USB cable, that's fine, nor this USB cable, or this power brick. But what we are going to need to digitize are these things. So we also have this. So that is our finish board for our transmitter, and these are the components for our receiver. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab some of these raw components, because we don't need to be using these ones. We can just grab some raw ones. So the first thing we're gonna digitize is, let us grab, we got one of these. So let's just move this stuff out of the way. So we have our volume control. We're going to replace that transformer with a different transformer. We have a speaker. We have a microphone board. This is for the transmitter. We have, what else do we have? Well, it looks like that might be, I mean, most of it. We also have this board, which is, that's our receiver board. And we have this transmitter board, which we are going to just find. We're not going to find, we're going to build it. Okay, so while we're here, I think what we're going to do first is we're going to see if any of these pieces already exist in the Thingiverse. Because, you know, it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to rebuild something that somebody has already built. So we're going to open up our browser. We're going to stop that because I don't want to go to my email. We're just going to go to Google. And we are going to, first thing we're going to do is look up this piece. This is HW-012. That's a really creative name for that board. So that is HW-012. And we're going to say 3D model. It might just be better to go to Thingiverse. So it's Thingiverse. Where's other places? Actually, might have better luck searching for this board first, which is the Max 9814. So GrabCAD is the website that I was really looking for, not Thingiverse. Okay, so GrabCAD looks like, let's see, they have a 3D model here. SketchUp model, I don't want SketchUp. Alright, let's see what you got here. Okay, check that out. Someone already built this at GrabCAD. Is that the right one? That is 4466. No, that is the other microphone that we were potentially going to use. But that's fine. So we are in the right place. This is the community I was looking for. If you guys don't have an account yet on GrabCAD Community, that is an amazing place to find resources. I'm going to log in here. Okay. And go to library, and we're going to search. So let's just search for our amplifier first. So this is the HW-012. Alright, we got nothing there, so we might need to build that. But they might have the components on here, so we're gonna look at that. So let's try this again. This is Max 9814. Nothing. Wow. Let me down, Thingiverse, or GrabCAD. Let's see if this board exists. This is the RT216. Oh, that didn't work. RT216. Nothing. Wow. Okay. So that was a bunch of fails right there. Oh, let's try this speaker. Let's go type in speaker. Well, there's a lot of things here with the speaker. Let's see. Can we type in, what do we have on here? It's 3 watts. Looks like we might be building more of these things than I thought. Okay, well that's a 4 ohm 3 watt speaker. That is similar to what we have. Okay, this is looking like, I think that might be our speaker. That's looking good. And I also have a step and an IG. Okay, and this is also like what we got. That looks almost exactly like what we got. Okay, so let's take a look at this file. That's looking good. Okay, so let's get the step file. We're just going to download this. So where we're going to put this, we are going to put it into the new folder we created on our desktop, which is going to be PPEcom, and we're going to make a new folder, and we're going to call this parts from web. Call this 4 ohm 3 watt speaker. Okay, so we got one thing. Man, I was really hoping that there was going to be a 3D model of this sucker that we didn't have to build. But let's see, can we import 3D PDFs into, or SKPs into here now? Let's see, import, and we're going to import, we're going to see what types we got here. So format, can we import SketchUp files? Okay, we can import SketchUp files. I wonder if we can import PDFs. Do we see PDF importer? No, there's no PDF by default. That's fine. Okay, so we are going to download this Adafruit SketchUp file and parts from web. Oh, I didn't need to do that. We're going to delete that. Okay, Adafruit mic, and we're going to just give this a part name. So this is the Max 9814. We're going to download the SketchUp file. Okay, so we've got that. So we have these two parts out of the way, so we're going to move them off of our surface here. And let's see if we can break this down into the components that are here. That might make this a little bit easier to download what we got. So it looks like we have a B50K, and that is this little knob. Let's see what that yields on our GrabCAD. So we have a B50K. Ha! Look at that. We have this. That's good. What kind of model we have? Oh, we have a step. Okay. So why not? We're going to download that. That'll make our life a little easier. Okay. And now let's get this capacitor cap. Let's see if we can get some capacitors on here. So this is a 470. It's probably a little too much to search for. So 470, 5.3 volts. Capacitor. So capacitor, SMD. SMA. Really want a surface mount. SNC, that must be the abbreviation I'm looking for. Well, these look like they will do. Those are passive. SMD, that's the word. Okay. SMD. Let's see if I can just SMD. Okay, so let's see if we can find something similar to what we have on here. Hey, it looks like this is pretty damn close. That says it is 6.7 volts. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another line to our search here. And let's just add 470, see what it does. That doesn't like it. So let's maybe we can try 5.6. Oh, it is 6.3. Huh. Okay, so we did have one that was perfect for us. We're gonna find that again. This looks like what we got. So we're gonna go into this cat folder. Oh, these are IPTs. I don't like IPT. I like step though. So what are all these different? Okay, so here we go. That's what I want. We're going to download this. Okay, that's looking good. So what are the other chips on here? That's a great question. Can't really read them. This is This is PAM8403. Let's see if, let's just look that up. It is, it's an amplifier. Look at that. Okay, it's a 5-volt 2-channel amplifier. So we're going to bring that into GrabCAD, into GrabCAD. And let's see what we find. Oh, look at that. We actually found our amplifier. Well, I'll be. We're using one of these too, so okay. Let's just grab this. So let's see, what do we want to find here? Grab this. Okay. We also we have this board that we could also be using. I download that as a backup. And let's see, what else do we have here? Maybe we have some more of these parts than I thought. So, our Bluetooth receiver, let's see, our Bluetooth transmitter, it's the TX4. No, let's try this. Bluetooth transmitter. I spelled Bluetooth wrong? I did. I added an extra E. Okay, Bluetooth transmitter. Of course, we don't have the one that we are using here. Let's try Bluetooth receiver. I doubt we're going to find the one that we're using. Looks pretty close, but it's no cigar. Alright, so we're going to have to build the rest of these things. That's fine. Before we do that, actually, let's get some more of these components we can break this down into. So we are going to get, let's call this RCA. We're going to need these RCA plugs. What are you similar to? Actually, I think we're gonna take those off that board. Because there's no reason for them. They just add extra weight and size. Yeah, we are gonna take those off of there. So we're not gonna model them. Okay. So, if that's the case, we're gonna get back to modeling. Let's get back to modeling this board. Just minimize that for now, and we can turn that off. Let's hide this. Select all. Select children and hide. Okay. So now get back to viewing our entire workspace here. And we can move that to our modeled side of things. So the next thing we need is this board. So we're just going to build a very basic mock-up of this board. Pardon me, I was having a drink of water. Okay. So we have some ants that have decided to join us. It's not going to stand. Okay. So this board is 48.12. So we're going to call it 48.2 millimeters in width. So 48.2 millimeters by 48.75. Okay. Ooh, pardon me. Okay. So let's bring that to the middle of our screen. That's the middle of our environment. Okay. And we're going to center on it. Okay. We're going to call this north and this south and this east and this west. So we're going to extrude this. Oh, this is a pretty thin PCB. So PCB on this, it's less than a millimeter, but we're going to call it a millimeter just to be safe. So let's extrude that. And 1 millimeter. Okay. This also has some beveled edges. So let's just bevel the edges of this PCB just to be in congruence. And the bevel is 3 millimeters. So let's see if we can add that to here. Corner radius is 3 millimeters. That looks great. Okay, and we're going to add our edit spline. Okay, so now we have that. And we have these little mounting holes. So let's see how far apart they are. So mounting holes look like they are about 38.6 millimeters apart. So let's just put that in here. So why not? So we have 38.6 millimeters. And how far is that from the edge on this edge? I'm gonna call that 4 millimeters. So let's do this. So 4 millimeters, and let's bring this to this edge. And we'll bring you to this edge. Okay. And how far are you from the bottom of this thing? It's 1 millimeter. So let's get our 1 millimeter thing here. So 1 millimeter. Okay. And from the edge, and we have a, how wide is, what's the radius of these holes? Typically 1 millimeter. So let's get a circle. Oh, that's not a circle. That's a rectangle. That's a circle. That's a circle. And we'll call you 0.5 millimeter. And you're gonna go there. And then we're gonna bring you all the way over to here. And we're going to bring this circle to this side. We're going to get rid of this, and we're going to get rid of this. Alright, so that looks pretty good. We're going to split the difference between these two, so let's see. What's the distance between these two holes here? Okay, so we're going to bring these over just a tad, because we're guesstimating these sizes a little bit. Okay, so we're going to give ourselves some wiggle room on this device. Okay, so we're gonna apply these to this. Now we extrude it. There we go. Okay. All right. Get these buttons, which we're gonna want to have access to press. And we have a battery on the back. Maybe that's something we can look for on GrabCAD. Let's just take a look. We have lots of lithium batteries on here. It looks like we have a number here, so let's do 302535. 302 535. No, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Let's see. That's really not going to be helpful. We're going to have to measure that out and build that. So let's just measure up our battery here. The battery is, call that 35.75 millimeters. by 25.25 millimeters. And we're going to call it a depth of 4 minus 1, so that's 3 millimeters. We're going to extrude it. Three millimeters. I'll put this on the bottom. Okay, and where are you in relation to the bottom here? You're at about 9 millimeters from the bottom and 7 millimeters from the edge. So 9 and 7, so let's just draw. Nine and 7. Line this up with you, and then you can line up with you. That means that you to line up here. Okay, delete. Okay, so we have our actually need to reverse those. So we're going to bring this onto this side. Okay, so there we go. Looks like I'm being hailed on Slack, so I will respond to that quickly. Okay, so where are we now? We are still modeling this Bluetooth receiver board. So, what are we going to do next to this thing? What actually has some depth to it? We need the power plug. Let's see if we can find that in GrabCAD, because I don't want to build that. for now, what I'm trying to do is try to find this piece without having to rebuild it. The question is, what do we call it exactly? Okay, so we're getting closer. Okay. So it's a DC power jack. These look pretty good. What did it say it was? 3 volt to 36 volt. I doubt that really matters, but let's see what else we got here. What are you claiming your power jack is? Alright, this will be fine. Okay. And probably need these buttons. So those are momentary buttons. Looks like this might be what I'm looking for. And what's the height on these posts? That's an interesting question. .25. I was hoping to see more. That's not what I want to do. So I want, let's call, let's see, how high is this one? 11 millimeters. You know what? I want to just download all of those. Alright, so I downloaded all those. Let's show the folder. And we're going to extract all of these here. Okay. So, it seems like we might have all the components we need to build this. Because we're going to ultimately just hotwire our audio from this board itself and not from one of these jacks. And the other thing we're going to build is this board. But let's get this out of the way first. Let's mount. We need to mount on here. Okay, so let's just call this. Let's make sure we name things. And this is battery. And this is PCB. Okay. So now let's bring in. First, let's bring in our power. Let's bring in our power port. So we are going to file, import, our desktop, and we need our PPEcom, parts from web. Okay, so the first thing we need is our power jack. Here we go. Okay. So our power jack is here. It looks like it might be bigger than we need, but we'll see. So we're going to rotate this up. Nope, that's not rotating. Okay, so our power jack here looks like it's got a bunch of random things. Okay, so we're gonna ungroup this because we don't need these extra things. So we're ungrouped. I need to ungroup it again because it's still weirdly nested. And we're gonna call this power jack. And we need to rotate it. We're going to turn on our rotate by degrees. So we got 90, that's at 90.5. Turn it off. Okay, so we're just going to do it here. So 90 degrees. Okay. And we want to turn it around. So we're just going to dial in 180 here. Okay. And we're going to take this. We're going to put it on the edge of our board. Because it looks like that's where it is. It should line up with the edge and the edge. So let's go in here. Let's see. Okay. And let's measure this to see if this actually measures up to what we're using on our real board. Okay, we're also going to bring this over because it looks like it's creeping off the edge. Okay, so let's take a look at, let's just draw a rectangle around this thing. And we're getting around 14 millimeters by 8.4 millimeters. So let's see what this is. Yep, 13.9, which is our up and down. And our width is about 8.69. I would say that's close enough. Our top and bottom is 10.8 millimeters. So we're gonna check that out. Let's do that here. Yep, 10.8. Okay, so let's seat this on this board instead of having it floating. Okay. So this board is looking not bad. There we go. Only got one thing on there so far, but you know, this is slow progress. Okay. Whoever you are watching, I hope you're enjoying it. Feel free to say hello in the chat. Okay. Next up is let's add these SMD switches. Okay, so the question is, does it include the post at the top or not? I'm going to say does. So it does include that. We're looking at a 7mm. The 7mm one. So let's import the 7mm one. Okay, bringing it in. Okay, that looks smaller than I need. It looks bigger and smaller at the same time. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to bring in, let's see, that is 4mm. I'm going to make a guess this is going to be 7mm in diameter, or in width. Let's see. It is, so it's 6. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to delete that. And we are going to import this 5mm one. Well, okay, we're gonna fudge it ourselves. Okay, so the width of this thing is supposed to be 4.4mm squared. So let's draw 4.4mm. I'll call 4.5. Just to be where we are. Okay, so let's center this to that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to shrink it down. Okay. And next thing we're going to do is, let's see where this thing lies. Just put you there. And okay, how high is this thing supposed to be? It's 3mm tall. So let's see what 3mm looks like here from this. So that's 3mm, so 3mm here to here. Let's bring you up. So that's 3mm. I think we're gonna squash this. Let's see. We're gonna bring this, and we're actually gonna surface mount it. We're gonna squash. Okay. And let's take this button, and we're gonna bring that up. So what do we bring that up to? Let's take this, and this needs to be 5. In total, it's going to be 9. So it's going to be 8mm. So let's call that 8. So let's go to 8. Okay, and we're going to bring that up. So let's bring this to here. Okay, and we're going to elongate this. So let's bring that up to there. We're going to bring this top layer to there. Okay, So now we have the right size push button. And the question is, what's the layout on top of this board? So we're going to use our two holes as our centering device. Okay. So from this hole to that edge, I'm going to call that 15.3 millimeters. So we're going to draw from here out, and we'll go 15.3. So 15.3 millimeters. And then what's the distance between that and the edge of this board? It's 1 millimeter. Okay, so that should match. Okay, so we're going to take you, and we're going to match up with you. And then we need to go this direction. And then you are going to match up you and you. Okay. And then now we can move to the next one. So the next one is going to be 16.4 millimeters from there. So 16.4, let's just call it 16.42. Okay, so that was to the outside edge. Okay, and then the last one is that last push button at the top. And it looks like it's dead center between those two. So let's see. That's 7.5. We'll just do it from the edge. We'll do it from this edge. Call that 21.3 millimeters from this edge. So so 1.3, 1.35. Okay, and then to the bottom is going to be 21.8. So okay, we're going to bring this up. Okay. So does that mean that we hit the bottom and bottom? Okay, so we can hit the bottom corner of that. So that should mean that you should match up with you. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So we're going to call this receiver. BT receiver. We're going to save this. Okay. Now let's import our speaker, and let's import our knob. So first we got our speaker. Does that feel like it's the right size? Our diameter is about 40 millimeters. So let's take a look. Is that 40 millimeters? Let's take our circle. $40 millimeters. Okay. So we have our speaker. And we need to bring in next this board. I believe should be this file. So it is. And before we do anything else, we're going to actually isolate this one. And we're going to remove these pins. So we don't have pins on this board. Ah! I really hope this has the model hole. It does. Look at that. It's got the holes. Okay. And we're going to group this together. And we're going to call this our amp. Okay. Unisolate that. Okay. And then we can actually unhide this transformer. So these are all the components we need for our receiver. And I think I'm going to take a break there. That means that tomorrow we will start modeling our transmitter. So I'm going to just save that. And I'm going to cut the broadcast. So everything we have built, we have this built right now. Oh, I'll just, there we go. Let's see. Oh, can't show you what I'm built. So we have this built. We have this sucker. We have this. And we have one of these. And then in tow, we also have one of these from online. So that means the only thing we have left to build is this board. So we got to build this. So thanks for tuning in. That was another successful broadcast. Tomorrow we'll be doing more modeling. Thanks for tuning in, and Louis Silverstein, peace out.